Hello, everyone. My name is Kelsey Rice, and today we're going to be going over my reading ladder that is based on the novel Elotsoe by Darcy Little Badger. Okay, and my essential questions are: how does storytelling lead to cultural and emotional understanding amongst diverse groups? How can we instill a better understanding of the world and history through the art of storytelling? So, number one, I would like to start with The Power of Sharing History Through Storytelling by Dan Nanon Kim. And in this TED Talk, Dan does a really great job of basically explaining to the students what storytelling is and why it's important. And it's not too long of a TED Talk. And in this reading ladder, I really wanted to start off with something really basic and something that the students would be most common with when it does come to Indigenous storytelling specifically. So, yeah, we would just start off with this really short TED Talk and then move on to our next part of the ladder, which is, oh gosh, I struggle with this word so hard. The Okay, The Cannibal Woman by Gwen Point. In this video, so we started off with the first step of the ladder, I guess I should say, um, where we are introducing the students to storytelling and explaining to them what it is. So in step two, what I wanted to do was basically show the students a good example of an Indigenous storyteller. And Gwen does a really great job of speaking. She speaks like you're speaking to one of your grandparents, and it's really comforting and nice. And not only does this whole situation feel extremely comfortable, so the students will be more susceptible to listening intently and grasping that understanding of cultural diversity and the need for cultural storytelling. Anyways, so Gwen does a really great job of doing this, and she performs this specific story in front of an audience of young children from her nation in just like a living room, and it seems very comfortable again. So it's really, I, I really think it's a good introduction and example of a storyteller, Indigenous storyteller. And then number three, so now we have step one, which would be introducing them to storytelling and what it is. Step two, showing them a good example of a storyteller. And then three, with the art of storytelling by Moses Goods, who is a native Hawaiian, not only are we introducing to our students a different form of Indigenous performance and Indigenous storytelling that they probably wouldn't think of, that we're also showing them the art of performance and the performance that goes into storytelling, specifically Indigenous storytelling. And Moses does a really great performance. He does a great job of showing the students the emotions and the culture and the fear and the bravery that goes into storytelling and the involvement in these stories. It's really, really good performance. And so we're just slowly scaffolding into these more intricate and advanced pieces. And so next, this would be our first literary piece that the students are going to be introduced to. And in Yellow Woman by Leslie Marmon Silko, the students get to see a more modern, um, modern display of Indigenous literature and Indigenous storytelling specifically. And in this story, Silko does a really wonderful job of showing and embracing the imagery that goes into storytelling. And it's just a really good story, and it also has really great morals and embraces um, native femininity. I guess that's a tough word. Anyways, so again, starting off with introducing the students, then moving up to showing the students a good example of what storytelling is. Moving on to embracing that performance, embracing that aspect of body movements and emotion, and then again, stepping up to our first literary piece, which would be Yellow Woman by Leslie Marmon Silko. Now, moving on, I kind of wanted to take a bit of a break because Yellow Woman can kind of be a story where you have to take a breather, where you need to breathe after reading it to really soak everything in. So, what I wanted to do was before we go into those even more advanced pieces, I wanted to stop and go into a more interactive piece, which would be the Cherokee Nation virtual field trip. And then this way, they're also engaging in history and culture that's more close to home, that they may be more familiar with. And in this, the Cherokee Nation also has a piece within this virtual field trip where they go over the storytelling aspect of it. And it's really, really great virtual field trip. It's very interactive. And another reason why I wanted to kind of wedge this in there between step 4 and step 6 was because they can also grasp a better understanding of the historical aspect of storytelling and why these stories are so intricate and so valuable within Indigenous culture. Moving on. So now we are on step 6, which we would be reading the novel. It would be our first novel, Elatsoe by Darcy Little Badger. This book does a really amazing job of tying in a more fun aspect and culture and the aspect of storytelling. And it's just a really amazing story. And the students can have kind of this fun, intricate story, really dive into it. And I think it would just be a really great next step. So we have that introducing them. We have them listening to a storyteller. We have them seeing the performance. We have their first literary piece where they get that touch of a modern storyteller and they get to kind of dive into that literary aspect. And then now, after they go out to their virtual field trip, they get to dive back into the literary aspect of it and grasp it on a more, I guess you could say, digestible level. This is specifically strictly young adult literature. They're going to be able to grasp this on their own terms, something they're more, again, more familiar with. And I think that this story is just a great base for implementing really any kind of aspect surrounding Indigenous culture and Indigenous literature. It's a great story. And then finally, I would like to end off also before we get over here. Let's go back. I really like this also because Alotsoe does a great job of introducing a piece of literature that doesn't embrace those extremely stereotypical themes that you may often see in Native American literature or Indigenous literature in general. Okay, and then finally, um, I don't think we would spend our whole time reading Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott Odell. What I wanted to do is just pull out certain pieces and have them read certain excerpts of this novel, mainly because Scott Odell isn't an Indigenous author. He is a white American author. And so I wanted to kind of bring this in the end, mainly because students have, at this point in our ladder, they should have a good understanding of what Indigenous storytelling is. So after we've gone over this, we can kind of dissect this piece and bring in that harmful and helpful framework and figure out, okay, are these embracing, you know, Indigenous culture and Native literature correctly, or are they just causing these harmful stereotypes? And I think that's mainly what canonical pieces and canonical novels are for nowadays. They're just pieces in order for us to analyze and dissect that specific time period, the morals and beliefs of that specific time period. And given that this was originally came out in the 1960s, I think it'd be a really good piece to understand again that oppression and how modern Indigenous oppression still is. Yeah. So I just wanted to say thank you everyone for your time. I know I'm surprised if you made it all the way here, but thank you for making it to the end. Again, my name is Kelsey Rice. This specific presentation is specifically for my young adult literature class. And thank you guys all for just going over this reading ladder over a lot. So thank you.